Clan. It's the PTCs. Here come the PTCs. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. The free thinkers dress and chill, remember that, just in case we ever link up and make a pact. The title held by him, Snoop Von Poop, means what you think you know. He knows the scoop, so don't think twice. What was secret now drops. Khakis with the shades, blunt never stops. Talking riddles, dry with silence. Guard against the haters with hilarious defiance. But yo, we ain't on no scripted list. We straight vibing, connections, no fingerprints. Heard something wild, watch your feet, cause you never quite know where the Wu-Tang's at.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan.
Free thought defenders.
Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them, won't let you forget.
Now from the Windy City streets of Chi-Town night, on the timeline, bright posts enter sight. Camera zoom on a legendary doom, but then like boom, dry jokes fill the room up with the quickness. Link with the witnesses, phone booth prod, vivid stories turn to epics. Ain't no PTC,
Nah, please.
do what we say, that's the way we kick it.
Yeah, nah, me.
I see Snoop get wicked on you with that dry humor. We your first, last, and only line of laughs against the worst boredom in the universe. So don't fear us. If you ever get near, don't sneer us.
We're fearless.
PTCs freezing up all the slack.
What's that stand for? Wu-Tang Clan.
And the Wu-Tang Clan. The Wu-Tang Clan.
Let me see you just bounce it with me.
Just bounce with me.
Bounce with me.
Bounce it with me.
Come on, let me see you just slide with me.
Just slide with me.
Slide.
Just slide with me.
Slide. Come on, let me see you take a walk with me.
Just walk with me.
Walk
Take
with
a
me.
walk with me.
Come on, tune in Tuesday at 6 EST. Here's the thing.
Now freeze!
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. Free thought defenders. Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. Oh, no.
Alright, check it. Let me tell you this in closing. Snoop might seem imposing, but trust me, if he ever drops in your section, believe me, it's for your own connection. Cause he knows celebs that you need not know, and he hits places that you need not go. So live your life, forget that lame crap, show love to the dry wit, cause that's the Von end, that's the Von end.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. Here come the defenders. Free defenders. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget 'em. Won't let you forget 'em. Yeah. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Oh, here they come. Sports loving crew. Oh, 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 oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget 'em.
Phone Booth Productions.
Here's the thing.
Well, I get up around 7, get out of bed around 9. I don't worry about nothing, no, because worry's a waste of my time. Show usually starts around 7. We go on stage around 9. Get on the bus about 11. Sipping a drink and feeling fine. Hello.
What is happening, Mr. Tod Burr? How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How's everybody there out there in TV land this afternoon, or whatever time you're watching this at? Because we're recording and it'll be aired somewhere else, and obviously it'll be 24/7. You can watch it in the privacy of your own home, 24/7. You want to watch it 4 a.m., cracking your last beer of the day, or maybe your first beer of the day. I don't know, but anyway, thanks for tuning in, and hope you're gonna hear some funny stuff and enjoy some stories.
Well, it's important to get that first beer in early, otherwise you can't drink all day. So
Exactly. That's a really good country song, by the way. You cannot get day drunk without starting early.
that's right. So we spoke a little bit the other day. That'll be coming out here in a couple of days. But wanted to get through a few more things. Take me through like the early years of Todd. Like, how did you grow up? Like as a kid.
Well, I was born in the East Coast. I was born in Yonkers, New York. I spent most of my up until college in New York and New Jersey. Just typical kid, running around like crazy, falling out of trees, and getting in fights, riding my skateboard to school. Um, uh, uh, didn't really have a lot of experience with music until I joined marching band in high school, and I only really did it because I was hot on one of the chicks in the band.
Mm. Isn't that usually the case?
Uh, well, yeah, I mean, she had a great butt and really big boobs for a 15-year-old, so it made me happy. Um, we dated on and off for probably 3 to 4 years, and then I went to ASU, and then I don't even know what ended up happening to her. I didn't even I lost track of her, in the early '90s. And I found out that she actually ended up marrying the guy she broke up with to date me. So she
Wow.
went back to that guy. And I know, it's crazy. Anyway, but I hope she's well wherever she is. I heard she became a teacher, which is good. The world needs more teachers. Also heard that she's just stayed in New York or New Jersey, wherever she ended up. But nothing crazy. My grandfather passed away in the '70s and left me a little bit of cash, so I ended up using that to go to ASU. And while I was there, I joined a band and started playing all the clubs here in Phoenix in the '80s. All the ones that were popular then. The Mason Jar,
I was just gonna
Ed
say the mason jar. Yeah.
Mason Jar played there 1,000 times. Edsel Zadok, Clancy's down in Tempe, and I just remember that you know, when you're 18 years old, and MTV is on, and you see, these guys on stage with these amazing drum sets and playing in front of thousands of people, and Iron Maiden and Van Halen and Rush and Judas Priest. I wanted that. I wanted that so bad, and I worked my ass off to go ahead and make enough money to get a really nice set of drums. And Dave Jewell at Milano's Music was in Mesa was really instrumental in helping me get to the point where I was able to get a really nice drum set. Um, and I think I might have mentioned it before. And he's also instrumental in me getting my relationship with Yamaha drums, of which I have almost one of every line of drums that they have. And I don't know, 37 snare drums.
Wow.
Anyway, but and it's I look at instruments now differently than when I did when I was 18. When I was 18, I would look at the catalogs and I'd go into the stores. I'd play on everything. I'd subscribe to Modern Drummer magazine. I'd go to concerts. I'd talk my way backstage and chat and chat and chat with people, find out what's going on, what works and what doesn't. And now that I'm, older, a little bit more seasoned, and um, maybe 5% better player than I was when I was 18. But
Wow.
I realized that they're tools, and when you're a professional musician, you need the right tools. So I wouldn't necessarily bring a set of power crashes to a quiet country gig. The things you learn as you get older and talk to people and find out how to get from point A to point B, and you learn sometimes the hard way, sometimes not the hard way. I think we touched on studio recording versus um, live performances. And another thing that I noticed when I got older, especially in the '90s, was listening to a studio album and then seeing the band live. It sounded different,
Hmm.
and it took me a while to figure out why. And it's because the studio is a controlled environment. Your producer's controlling things. Microphones make a difference. The room
Yep.
makes a difference. And as I found out when I started working at Drum Doctors, a lot of guys who endorse brand A of drums and cymbals don't use them in the studio. And a lot of drummers are famous, like I said, for playing A drums, but they're in the studio using a set of Gretsch, um, with on rims mounts, with heads they don't endorse, a brand name of heads they don't endorse. But then you go see them live at, say, the Hollywood Bowl or at the Troubadour or whatever, and they're playing their, it's the same thing with guitars. I know a lot of guys who endorse a guitar, and yet you go into their guitar room at their house and there's 90 guitars, and
Yeah.
like two of them are the ones they endorse. The rest are, a Telecaster and a Strat, and maybe a BC Rich or whatever. But like I said, the '80s was very pivotal. I met a girl in college right away who was a musician. We ended up being in a bunch of bands together. Moved to LA together, and she played bass, and we would jam constantly. I mean, like all the time.
Well, what was the first band that you really broke out with? Like, what was the first like big
Oh my
time
god,
band
I
you were in?
played like in a dozen bands before I broke out anything. But I mean, some of the band names were horrible, like Rude Attitude.
Classic '80s
Oh my
names.
Oh my god! And then I was in a band called Slasher for 5 minutes. I mean, 'cause you wanted to be in Slayer, so we had Slasher. And then I was in a band called Sharon, which I believe is a star that has a habitable planet around it. I mean, all the stuff you get from books before the internet. You
Yeah.
just grab a book and start reading it, and that's actually how I named the first band I got any notoriety from. Was a band called Substance D. It was a power trio. We actually ended up getting signed on Century Media. And the name actually came. I'm a huge science fiction fan, and I've got books by Ellison, Isaac Asimov.
Is Substance D, is that from Philip K. Dick?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. There's a band, a book. He did like the Blade Runner book.
Mm-hmm.
And then Harry Harrison did, Make Room, which was Soylent Green. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Omega Man. I'm a huge fan of all that stuff. Anyway, so there's a book called A Scanner Darkly.
Yes,
And
I've seen the animated movie and it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that came out after our record did.
Wow.
So that actually helped elevate us a little bit. Unfortunately, the movie didn't do well. I think the rotoscoping idea was cool, but I think they could have done it without it. It was
Yeah.
it was a gimmick at the time. But anyway, the um, the substance was called Substance D, Despair, Death, and it came from a flower. And the the concept around it was that it was illegal to make, and it turned into a highly addictive drug, kind of like fentanyl today.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Keanu Reeves character, if you ever watch the movie, is on the stuff, but he doesn't. But he's doing it because he's an undercover cop. But then he starts losing his freaking mind over it. And we thought, what a great concept for a band name.
Yeah.
So our second record actually had pills on the cover with the D on them, like from the book. And
Wow.
all this happened before the movie came out. And our band logo actually became a triangle. Actually, it's triangles. I don't know if you can see this, but it's triangles within triangles because we were a three-piece band.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to there's a track up on your website and I checked it out. It's good, man. I
Oh,
I
thanks.
don't know how I missed it. And also we talked about the Droots.
It's some heavy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I dug it. I really dug it. And I
Yeah,
and I dug the Droots too.
yeah.
I don't know how I missed out on the Droots. Now,
Another trio.
whatever happened with the Droots?
Uh, the bass player, lead singer, went back to Alice Cooper, and then he formed Beasto Blanco. Beasto
Yeah.
Blanco is basically the Droots with Calico Cooper and a different drummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know how I never heard of that one either. Um,
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened. I think I mentioned before the story about me walking my dog and the manager found me. But I'll tell you what happened is there was a Joe Lestay, Glenn Sobel, and DJ
Be-
Ashba side project
Beautiful
called
Creatures.
Beautiful Creatures,
Yeah.
and they got signed. I believe it was to Geffen for like $1 million, and
I think it was Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
I think it
Yeah, it was one
was.
of those. it was a big label. They had a lot of money behind them. Put the record out, and it did nothing.
Yeah.
So we were in talks with, I believe we were in talks with Universal or somebody else about doing a Droots record, and they backed off when the Beautiful Creatures record tanked.
Mm.
So guitar-oriented rock took a nosedive when the Beautiful Creatures record tanked. We took a 3-year break, got back together again after the next long Alice Cooper tour, and then we ended up playing at Club Vodka in Hollywood, 2005. We ended up closing once a week at Club Vodka. We ended up closing the show. So we would follow Jackal. We would follow the bands doing the pay to play there. We would follow national acts, and we did that for almost a year. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And then you know, the end of 2005 ran around, and I joined NXS as a drum tech, and I toured Japan with Pretty Boy Floyd. Chuck went back to Alice Cooper, and then formed Beasto Blanco, and I saw them on one of the rock cruises I was on recently.
There
So
you go.
I thought they were great. I think Beasto Blanco is a great freaking band.
Yeah. Beautiful Creatures was a great band too,
It was,
and
I,
I
I thought they were wonderful. I thought it was great. It was just there's either timing or the songs or
well
something just
the
didn't click with the audience.
yeah, well, that timing, it was a weird time when it came out because the whole industry had kind of turned its back on, 80s musicians, and Joe falling into that category. I'd love to get Joe on the podcast. I know he lives out here in
Yeah,
Arizona, and
yeah.
like we were hanging out probably 10 years ago, and I was talking to him about Beautiful Creatures and how they got that deal, and it was basically they had to fly under the radar in order to get that deal and keep the past unknown.
Oh, dude, we used to in the early '90s in LA. We used to play pool with them at the Star Garden on Lake Ocean Boulevard. It was a strip club where we knew all the girls. And we knew all the guys that hung out there. I knew the door guy. The manager lived upstairs. I mean, we used to go to party. It was like our home away from home. And I was just there recently, a few months ago, after my wife passed away. A buddy of mine had actually bought a drum set for me, and I drove out there, and I went to the Star Garden. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have a beer for old time's sake, and just walk in there and hang out." But it was locked. It was closed. I think it might have been out of business, and that really sucks because I mean, I had a lot of fun there. I dated a couple of girls. My ex-wife worked there for 5 minutes. Like I said, I used to. And dude, you go in there in the late '90s. They also had a grandfather clause that you could smoke after they stopped allowing
Mhm.
smoking inside in California. And I think it was '99. We were able to smoke there till 2002, so it became even a better place to hang out there. And my wife at the time, we would take the party to our house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Next thing you know, there's strippers in my house, doing fashion shows half naked in my house till the sun came up, with probably a little bit of, and a bunch of booze. But
Well,
anyway,
that sounds awful.
you know, a terrible time to be alive. But I will say one thing: I was recently in a strip club. I rediscovered one that I went to and Substance D was on tour in the '90s, and it's down the street from where my parents are buried. So figure that one out. So I go see my parents in the cemetery, and I stop at a strip club on the way home and have a beer at a place I've been going to on and off since 1998 or 1997. Anyway, but I'm in there, and here's the difference. When I went to Star Garden in the '90s, they're playing Ramstein, ACDC, Filter, Nine Inch Nails. You couldn't be in a strip club in the late '90s without hearing Closer
Yeah.
or Stripped or Du Housed. Or Hey Man, Nice Shot. Girls would come out and take their tops off or whatever to dancing to stuff like that. And I was in there maybe about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it was all hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was it hip hop, it was bad hip hop. You like with the N word in there and the hoes, and it's like, and the other thing is, I mean, I know I'm old now, hence the fact I don't color my hair anymore. Um,
I got it all up in the beard too. When it
oh,
grows out a little more, you can see it.
it happens, during the C word, I had a freaking Santa Claus beard. That's when it came in, because you don't have any gigs, you're not going
Yeah.
to work, you're not doing anything, so I freaking shave.
And I thank you for saying the C word because that word is one that really triggers the algorithm and it can make a big difference in your episode getting views or not getting views. It's crazy. Just talking about it can
Yeah.
get you flagged,
Well,
you know?
I know what words. I know what words get flagged.
Yeah. It's been crazy how many episodes and stuff of mine get flagged for the silliest of things, you know?
Dude,
And like
a buddy of mine just flew out of LAX this morning, and he's a construction worker, and his toolbox was okay to fly. You want to know what flagged him? His butt wipes.
his butt wipes.
You're not allowed to fly with butt wipes.
Like just that's basically just a wet wipe, right?
I know. He said he had to take them out of his carry-on.
Wow.
It makes no, dude. The world sometimes makes no sense. You could talk about the most horrible, worst thing in the entire world, and some Karen somewhere hears something that she doesn't like and sends an angry letter to Mr. Z. Again, another word that might get flagged. And the next thing you know, you get a warning on your page. And I have been kicked off of both platforms for posting stuff that now we know is true.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
but in 2020, hopefully 2020, I'm not going to say the E word, but the 2020 E word, I was kicked off of both F and T for weeks at a time, right
yeah.
before the election.
Wow,
So,
yeah,
yeah, it's nuts.
well, and since Mr. Musk took over, it hasn't gotten much better. Maybe a little.
It's my feed has gotten tons better. And I've added thousands of people that added me back, but it's mostly political. Um, and I read that and Real Clear Politics uh, every day when I wake up. I spend probably 40 minutes. Then I watch the local news at least twice a day to find out what's going on in the world. Try to get a non-biased point of view, and I still can't believe in in 2026, especially what happened at the end of 24, and especially all the BS that happened, during the 2020 C word fiasco,
Yeah.
that people still choose to get their news and information from one place.
Hmm.
I purposely go ahead and switch between a couple, and I actually put it up on my Facebook page about maybe 2 years ago. I watched the same press conference on two TVs side by side, and the Chiron at the bottom couldn't have been more different. You're
Yeah.
listening to the same person say the same thing and two different points of view. Like,
Yeah.
okay, blah 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 is against this. Blah 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 is for this. But that's not what's being said. You know what I mean? And it's just mind-boggling, and trying to have a conversation with someone who disagrees, even when they've been proven wrong. Um, and I could spend an hour. I could spend an hour on this, and it's really quite hysterical the way things are right now. With I just call them ostriches and Karens. Ostriches is just put their fingers in their ear. They're the three monkeys: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, or else they're Karens, and they just drop everything. And I spend quite a bit of time, on social media, mostly promoting my shows, but every now and then, if you follow my posts, every now and then, and I think I mentioned this before, I'll post a meme that probably offends 20% of the country, maybe the world, but the other 80% laugh their asses off about it. If I find something funny, I get people all the time send me private messages, go, dude, that meme you posted is absolutely hysterical. I just can't like it because of where I work. I can't
Yeah.
repost it because where I work. I can't comment on it because my wife will get mad at me or whatever. And that's a sad way to live, you know?
Yeah, I feel sorry for one of my co-hosts on the live streams that we do, which you should tune in tomorrow night. I think you might really enjoy, the stuff we talk about. and I'll send you a link
Send me a link.
to it.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out.
And he gets real worried because he has his own personal podcast, and then he's on the live stream with us, and he was really worried about his personal podcast and getting flagged, like at work, somebody seeing it or something. But it ended up being the live streams that they saw, and they said something to him. It's like that would be terrible to live in a world like that, where you have to worry so much about what you say. Like I'm pretty fortunate that most of my life I've been able to work for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have to answer to a boss.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. It's unfortunately I'm a late bloomer, and I really didn't pay a lot of attention to this. Obviously, living in California, you're force fed a media diet of one side opinions.
mhm,
The people that you hang around with, and just so happens that my last two girlfriends have unfriended me on social media, and they're both in California because they don't have they can't accept a different point of view. And when I lived in California, I really didn't pay that much attention to it. And I luckily lived there, in the late '80s, '90s, where things were good, you know. And
mhm,
even in the early 2000s, things were good, so you didn't really have to pay attention to things. I really started noticing about 2015 when you would see someone speak on camera in an interview, and then you watch the news later and they cut and paste it
mm,
and cherry pick it in such
mhm,
a way that it doesn't have the same effect of what you saw with your own eyes and ears. And I'll just say one thing and then we can move on from politics. But you got to realize that the world, I mean, I did Celebrity Apprentice. I was in the room with future president and Melania Trump, and they loved him.
mhm.
They loved him. He was
Everybody loved him until he ran for president.
Well, no, he ran for president as a Republican and beat the pants off of the worst. Well, I'm sorry, the second worst candidate in history, which was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine what would have happened to this country? Dude, we would be in World War III right now, or
Hmm.
maybe even after World War III right now, living in freaking huts, throwing rocks at each other.
Well, living in FEMA camps or something.
That's what they want.
Yeah, exactly,
That's what they
exactly.
want. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, apart from the politics, it's just, you know, in general, people just please don't be crazy. You know,
Well,
just
you know what's crazy to me is, like, like you were just saying, how people can get the message wrong. I was just recently talking to my friend's wife, and she can't stand Trump, and
you ever ask her? You ever ask her why?
Yeah, yeah. So, so we got focused on one thing, because I find it's easier to focus on one thing with people like this than it is to really throw a bunch of curveballs at them, because then they're just too confused. But if you take one thing and focus on that. So we focused on whether or not he told people to inject bleach. Now, she swears up and down that he said that. And I went and found all the videos and showed her and played them for her. And then she finally was able to sit back and say, oh, okay, he didn't say that. But it was
Dude,
because the media misconstrued what he said, and then that turned into a whole thing.
I watched the press release. Dude, I
Mhm.
was unemployed at the time. I watched him and freaking idiot Fauci, the liar who basically was in charge, the architect of all this crap. That guy needs to go to jail. I'm sorry. I mean,
Absolutely.
absolutely, that guy goes to jail. I consider him responsible for millions of deaths. You want to know who really Hitler is? Fauci is Hitler. He killed people. President Trump has never killed anyone. Fauci killed people. Anyway, my point is exactly that. I watched the press release with Fauci and President Trump, and I could quote it verbatim. I watched it live. And then I watched freaking CNN misconstrue the whole thing.
Mhm.
And people to this day still believe that he wanted you to inject bleach.
Yep.
Ivermectin is horse dewormer. You shouldn't take it. You should stay inside as opposed to sunlight, which is probably one of the healthiest thing you can do. Working out and going outside and getting fresh air and sunlight is good for you.
Yep. And then they tried to take that away from us all. It's funny, you just mentioned ivermectin, and people seem to forget that medication won a Nobel Prize
Yes,
for its human consumption.
yes, but they won't say that on CNN.
No, no. And that's not right, you know? It's like, that's not what journalism is about.
Well, that's why no one watches CNN and MSNBC anymore.
Yeah,
Their
well, I don't
their
watch
ratings
any
are
of them.
too.
You know? I mean, I pretty much just stick to, social media, whatever kind of independent journalists that, typically post good stuff, they're not, you could spot the ones that are full of shit from a mile away,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Substack is my new favorite,
Oh,
avenue of finding stuff. I got a couple of podcasters on there.
we're on Substack too. That's our main page. In fact, the
Oh,
bonus content's going to be on Substack.
I will add you.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, uh, the other thing that's really fascinating now is the message boards, the comment boards,
Mhm.
um, the discussion boards. When someone posts a story, unfortunately, some media outlets like The Hill have taken them away. Politico have taken them away because they realize that if you allow it's the same thing with the T word, now X.
Mhm.
They used to not allow people to have opinions. It was a one-sided platform, and certain other platforms are one-sided platforms too. And I know what websites to stay away from because they're also one-sided. But when you have open dialogue, like I said, like when Musk took over X, I mean, it is now an open-sided platform. Every now and then, I get people I don't want to hear their opinions,
Yeah.
um, and because some of them are lying, and I won't mention any names because you know some of who they are. And I just actually had a conversation recently with one of my singers because the guitar player asked if I was going to go see the new Spinal Tap movie, and
It's hard.
I said I'm not really sure because the first one was perfect.
Yeah.
And same thing with Spaceballs too. The first one was perfect, and you can't really replace John Candy. And the other thing is the director of of um, Spinal Tap.
Rob Reiner.
I love his movies. I mean, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Spinal Tap, great stuff. But he kept showing up in my Twitter feed, spouting the most insane, horrible, violent things.
Yes.
And
Him and Stephen King too.
oh, it's Stephen King too, and Bette Midler and Barbara Streisand. Again, all these freaking Karens, all these angry Karens.
You
And
know what? You know who you
and
know
they
who
have nothing to lose because in their little bubble in Malibu or in the Martha's Vineyard where they hang out, everybody believes it speaks the same language, and if they don't, they keep their mouths shut.
Yeah. You know who really pissed me off with the whole not being able to have a different viewpoint is Tracy Guns. I have no problem calling him out. He's a piece of shit. And I'm a huge LA Guns fan.
Yeah, me too.
And I mean they're probably my top 3 bands for sure.
Yeah.
And I love everything that they've put out since about 2000 has been great. And even their early stuff is great too, but I'm saying since 2000 they've put out consistently great music.
Oh yeah.
And he followed me on X, and I was in his comments. Someone said something, and I think I asked a question about Trump or something, and then he just got all pissed off. I can't be friends with anybody that is a fan of Trump. I'm like, dude. And this is before I really put my identity out there. I was just Snoop Von Poop, but
Right.
he knows me in real life. We
Yeah.
we are what I considered friends before
Yeah.
that. And it just kind of, I lost such a lot of love for him at that point, and that sucks.
Yeah. Well, as the band leader, he has a lot more leeway than you or I would be as paid sidemen. If I was playing with LA Guns, and I would probably never bring up politics.
Yeah.
Riding in the tour bus at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would not bring it up. Because you know that he might fire you over it,
Yeah,
and that's
well, he would.
he would
Not might, he will.
those on that side of the aisle. I mean, I've got, it's one of the things really, really hysterical is one of my exes, before she unfriended me on social media, she goes, do you really have a lot of Trump supporters in your circle? And I go, yes. Living here in Phoenix, I do. I play
Mhm.
in bands where the guys wear their freaking firearms on their hip when they sing. You know, I go to rehearsals and people are freaking armed. I drive up and down my street here, and I know which houses have gun safes in the garage if God forbid I need help. Um, and the same thing with politics. I know which band members are on my side, and we have great spirited conversations about stuff. Like I'll go over to one of my guitar players' house, and we'll sit there and watch freaking Greg Gutfeld and laugh our asses off because he's the funniest guy, number one rated late night show,
Yeah.
funniest guy on TV, and and he's not even on a network. I can't even watch the other shows anymore, dude. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you one more quick story. Like I said, my ex could not believe that I had people who agree with me. She just can't believe anybody disagrees with her. That's the biggest blind spot for people on the other side of the aisle is they can't understand why you would disagree with them. They got this fake moral superiority complex. But anyway, long story short, um, uh, right after the 2020 election, I was rehearsing at one of my guys' houses, and the guy's house is his house. I know he's on the other side of the aisle, and one of the guys in the band said something about the 2020 election, and I think I made a joke, and I said, "Yeah, we'll probably have to do a recount or something like that." I mean, it wasn't even mean; it was just something like maybe a recount would be nice, and he just exploded and points to the door and goes, "Get out of here with that QAnon bull crap." And
Oh.
I'm like, I don't even go on there. I said, you can't say, like I said, I know who not to talk to about things. And if you want to have a spirited discussion, great. I know who's on the other side of the aisle, and you're 100% right about the injecting bleach thing. You cannot convince somebody something that I mean, you could actually ask them today. I'll bet you that girl you were talking to about the bleach, ask her if she thinks Trump is still a Russian agent, and Putin got him elected in 2016.
Oh yeah,
I'll bet she
that's
still
still.
believes that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned the 2020 election, and I want to play this video for you. This is just yesterday here
Yeah.
in Arizona.
Yep.
Okay.
4,243 mail-in ballots where there is no clear record of them being sent. And just to be clear, here in the state of Arizona, there's EV32s and EV33s. EV32s is supposed to give a record of when a mail-in ballot is sent, and an EV33 is supposed to give a record of when the mail-in ballot is received. And so there should be an equal, there should be more EV32s, more sent out than there are that are received. Specifically with these, we can tie them to a specific individual that was mailed to. And so we have 74,000 where we have them came back from individuals where we don't have a clear indication that they were ever sent out to them.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. They're proving it. It happened.
Yeah. But you can't, like I said, you cannot convince somebody when their head is in the sand. And it's the same thing. It was really funny. I was on tour in the summer of 24 and maybe May, and the guys in my band were messing with me. And one of them sent me a text. I was actually at the bar with the bass player getting some drinks, and one of the guys in the band sent me a text and saying that Joe Biden had stepped down, and this was in May, not June. This was in May, and I actually texted back. I says, "Yeah, I know. He should have stepped down years ago." And I didn't think anything of it. Of course, then he did step down the next month after the disastrous thing. And I've been saying since 2020, the guy's a potato. And
Mhm.
I would tell, instead of going, not my president, I would say, not my potato. I mean, I still have arguments with people saying Joe Biden was great. I'm like, how? How? I mean, it's like you can't even sit there and have an argument with somebody or a reasonable discussion looking at the economy, looking at the border, looking on our standing around the world, looking on all the wars that started under his thing. I mean, he's Professor Autopen. He didn't even
Yeah,
know,
the auto pen. He didn't sign nothing.
he didn't even know what's going on. And people still voted for his successor. And actually, I had one friend of mine, another singer friend of mine, who actually said, "I cannot believe that Kamala Harris isn't president." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because she would be great." I go, "How?" And they never answer the question.
Well, did you see when Trump he posted that Biden had been killed by firing squad in 2019. So now this has been a theory, for a long time, and then he posted that happened, and now just released in the Epstein files, they're talking about that.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said before, since 2020, since the media, became hostile and untruthful in 2016, and then really cranked up the fraud and the lies in 2020, I don't really believe a lot of stuff right now. There's stuff that's redacted. There's stuff that they're not releasing certain things. It's like the Kennedy assassination, the Warren Commission. You know, just everyone is dead. Everyone
Mhm,
involved is dead.
mhm,
Why wouldn't you not release the files? And you got to understand something. Freaking Biden had the Epstein files for four
mhm,
years. Why didn't Merrick Garland release any of them? You know
yep,
what? If Trump really was in there, he would have released them before the election. It could have cost Trump the election if he was in the Epstein files. And you're right. There's all of these people are all connected. And the worst part about using your own mind and looking into things and doing investigative journalism on your own. And again, the fact that Musk bought X and now there's I mean, there's conspiracy theories, there's theories, there's things that people are talking about. There's the court of public opinion, and what you have to do as a intelligent human being, with an IQ of above a Somalian, is take 5 seconds before you say something stupid and put it on the internet. But there's no consequences for certain people. You know, like I said, Fauci should be in prison right now. I don't know
mhm,
why he's not. You know, the New York Times got a Pulitzer Prize for the Russian collusion hoax, and they didn't give it back. For lying. And
yeah.
all these things. Thank goodness I'm able to go ahead and sleep with a clear conscience when I go to bed at night, knowing that I took, an hour or 2 hours out of my day to look at stuff. In between learning 1,000 songs to play at the next gig.
You know what's messed up about that whole Russia collusion thing is like they tried to, they invented the whole thing, with the Steele dossier.
Yeah.
It's come out that the DNC was behind it all.
Yep.
And what's crazy is the only person that ever really went to jail over any of that was what's his name, General Flynn.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
The only reason they threw him in jail was he wouldn't play games. I mean, he wouldn't play ball with them. you
Yeah.
know. And same thing with that general who said that I can't remember which general it was, the one that was in the hospital, and nobody knew. We had no leader of the military for like 4 days, and nobody knew. And he also told Chairman Xi Jinping in China, he goes, if President Trump does anything crazy, I'll call you. It's like, what are you talking about? It's your commander in chief, you moron. That and the cross dressing people Biden had in his cabinet. It was a circus. It absolutely was a circus. I'm glad we're over and done with it. And honestly, I know there's a lot of people who wake up every day angry. And I'll tell you my guy theory about this. If you're on the left, you wake up in the morning angry. You hate the country. You hate the president. You hate the way things are. You hate the fact that your favorite movie doesn't have enough black people in it, or gay people in it, or whatever. And then if you're conservative, you wake up going, "Oh my God, I love this country. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I have a beautiful wife and children. I have a nice home in a safe neighborhood. There's a few things in the world I'd like to fix and maybe change. And I work really hard at my job, and maybe I can go ahead and, spend some time." Organizing or voting the right way or trying to influence my friends and have intelligent discussions with them. And there you go. That's the world. That's my theory of the world in general. You know, and you know, it makes me happy and makes me sleep good. And I guarantee you, there's probably one or two people, um, you know, that won't make music with me because of that, and
Yeah.
because usually one side is so angry all the time that they can't be around someone who doesn't think the same way they do. And it doesn't matter if they make money or not. I mean, you see the movie studios and the TV studios and the musicians, honestly, every single day piss off half the country.
Yeah.
Why would why would you want to go ahead and get rid of 50% of your audience?
Hmm.
Keep your mouth shut. You make I mean, I'm sorry, but if they want to recast Clint Eastwood, please don't be a freaking trans black guy in a wheelchair. You know
Right.
what I mean? And they do it all the time, and they wonder why nobody goes to see their products. And I mean, I don't know how many. I mean, how many people stop listening to Billie Eilish because of her BS comments?
Hmm.
And it's just dumb. You mean, here's the thing: is your music, your movies used to be good. I don't like very many new artists, actors. I just made a funny comment yesterday. It was really funny. Um, oh, they recast somebody in a movie that I like, and they recast it. And my very first comment is, "Oh my God, he's still being played by a white actor." Thank you. It's like you sit there and look at it and go, they actually have names for it. It's called race swap and gender swap.
Hmm.
Sorry, the only one that really works is Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury.
I don't know who Nick Fury is.
He's the head of the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
And
Nerd
I'm saying
stuff. Nerd
it,
stuff.
again, I told you, I'm a sci-fi comic book geek. I've got all the books. I could claim stuff. I got freaking James Bond tattoos and Road Warrior tattoos, and I'm a huge fan of all that stuff. And somewhere in this room is a life-size poster of Daniel Craig as James Bond.
Have you heard the theory that because you were just saying how you don't like a lot of the newer stuff, but have you heard this theory that's going around that since about 1999 there's been nothing new come out, like it's all regurgitated bullshit, and it's pretty much like things just kind of hit the brakes at 99 and we haven't really progressed since then.
Oh, hold on, hold on, 1 second. Back in 1 second.
Yep.
Don't turn anything off. I just need to grab something. Hold on.
No problem.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No
Yeah, I
problem.
just I wanted to plug someone I follow on the internet. His
Go
name
ahead.
Rick Beato. You know who that is?
I do not. How do you spell the last name?
Beato.
Okay.
He's got a podcast on YouTube, and he talks about exactly what you're talking about. Now you do realize that Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, the Backstreet Boys, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, all have the same songwriter.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's a Swedish guy named like Michael Martinson or something like that, and he writes all of these songs that sound exactly the same with interchangeable. I call them pop tarts.
Yeah.
You know, dancing 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds. And and when you realize that a lot of modern pop music is like that, it's also oversaturated.
Mm-hmm.
It's mixed too loud. Some stuff is distorted, and uh, I thought it was really interesting. Going back to the strip club story we were talking about earlier, is a lot of modern pop and hip hop. I listened to a song. Oh God, where was I at? I was at my dentist today. Believe it or not, I had a crown put in, and I was at my dentist, and the dentist actually goes, "What do you think of the music we're playing today?" I go, it's kind of like disposable pop, hip hop, techno stuff." And I said, "But it's kind of in the background." I said, "I'm really not paying attention to it." And of course, once you say that, I start paying attention to it, and
Mm-hmm.
I go, it's kind of repetitious.
Yeah.
You go back and you listen to adventurous bands, and I know girls don't like to listen to Rush. Actually, what's really funny is one of my hottest female friends is a huge Rush fan. She's absolutely gorgeous, and she loves Rush, and I'm like going, "Oh my god, I wish you had a sister." Anyway, um, but anyway, oh, she's a great singer too. I played in a band with her for 5 minutes. Her sister actually is a drummer, believe it or not. It's kind of cool. Anyway, but speaking of Rush, I mean, and I think I might have mentioned this before with signature snare drum sounds, signature guitar sounds. Rush changes their time signatures. Within a song, they do breaks and stops, and you listen to a modern song. I mean, even 12-year-old, 15-year-old Black Eyed Peas song, they have things called drops, where they just take the music out for one beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like, why? Who cares? And they all do it.
Yeah.
The other thing I cannot stand is the freaking digital hi-hat. Ugh. Oh my God. I just want to go ahead and find who came up with that. Give him an elbow in the jaw. Say, dude, it's the most annoying sound on planet Earth. And every modern hip hop song, some pop songs. Actually, I heard it in a country song. Uh, Waylon Wallen, Morgan Wallen,
Okay.
I think has one. And then, thank God they did a drum and bass track with Jason Aldean and didn't put that in. Because Rich Redmond's a great freaking drummer, really nice guy. I met him several times before some clinics, and going back to the. Did we ever talk about the Bonzo Bash?
No, I don't think we did.
So after I get done, we did a Def Leppard tour, and Billy Idol opened up for us. Maybe 2009. Anyway, Billy Idol was great, man. I'll tell you something. That guy was freaking on fire every night. Brian Tishy's his drummer.
Oh,
Great freaking
fantastic drummer. Yeah.
really really nice guy. I learned a lot of stuff about drum tuning, especially stuff wide open. You know what I mean? Tuning drums wide open, the Bonham sound, basically.
Okay.
So anyway, so in the middle of 2010, could we talk about the Lexus commercial? I think I sent you a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I sent you a link to some other really cool drummers in this town. I really think they'd have some really great stories too. But anyway, so Brian calls me up randomly out of nowhere and says, "Hey man," he goes, "I have an idea." Sorry, I'm thirsty too. He goes, "I have an idea." He goes, "I want to set up a Ludwig Vistalite kit at the Key Club in Hollywood and have like 30 drummers come and play a Zeppelin song on it." And he goes, "I want you to be in charge of the kit." And I'm like going, "Dude, where do I sign?" I mean, John Bonham is probably in the top 10, top 5 list of every drummer's favorite drummers of all time. And Brian Tishy is up there too. And you know, you know, so I said yes. So we started rehearsing for this, and I immediately thought right out of the box, "Oh my God, I have to change this drum set at the end of every song to the next guy." Because you'll have Simon Kirk and Seven Antonopoulos who will come in and they sit all the way down. Seven plays all of his drums flat. Simon has all of his stuff angled, and you had some people like the ride cymbal flat, some people like it
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did. I mean, Danny Carey of Tool, Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers, um, uh, 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 we had Corky Lang from Mountain. Oh my God, what a great guy! Like
Wow.
hanging out with Corky, backstage.
Now,
So
now does Chaz West sing for all of those dudes or?
he sang, yeah, he sang some of them, yeah. It was really funny. We did a Pretty Boy Floyd Zeppelin show out in the Midwest, and both of us had our triple our Bonzo Bash necklaces on. Like in the Midwest, we both had our John Bonham necklaces on. Anyway, yeah. So he's done that. We've done a lot of guest musicians. Actually, Chuck from the Droots showed up and
Mhm.
played. We had Jimmy DeAnda play drums.
He's a great drummer, very underrated drummer, Jimmy
Dude, and
DeAnda.
and he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
And some of these people I've known for 25, 35 years, and it's always nice to see them. We've had Dewey Bragg from Ira Black's band. I can't remember because Vinny Appice was the drummer for 5 minutes. Vinny's a great drummer too. Very
Yeah.
underrated. You
Oh yeah.
know,
And
and
a very distinct sound he has too.
yes,
You always know it's him.
and dude, his tom fills sound like
Mhm.
it's Vinny. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
His tom fills sound like Vinny. Very, very solid. And I actually he played on my drums about 2 months ago. He was in town celebrating a birthday party out of Handlebar J, and I let him play
Oh
a
wow.
Marshall Tucker song on my kit. And he did one of those Dio fills in a Marshall Tucker song. It was
Oh,
freaking
wow.
great.
Wow.
And one of it's one again. You keep on learning, and when you when I when you don't know this when you're watching someone when you're 16, 17 years old, but one of the things I learned by watching a lot of drummers, I worked for Jimmy Chamberlain quite a bit, um, and what you notice is, and this is a technique I'm still trying to get. Your snare drum volume is the same as your floor tom volume, and the same thing when you hit your crashes. You have the dynamics of hitting them really hard for an accent, or you hear them very soft going into a breakdown verse with a side stick. All of these things. It's intentional as a professional musician making music, and I did notice that a lot of drummers, especially at the Bonzo Bash, because I'm standing right next to them when they're playing, are very good at that. Jimmy DeAnda's last floor tom hit is the same volume and intensity as his first snare hit, and I respect that. Again, and one of the things I'm still trying to get down is the freaking flutterfoot. The triplets.
Okay.
I'm close. I'm almost got it. But Jimmy can do it. Brian can do it. I've had a couple drummers come up and they want to use a double pedal on the Bonzo kit, and I'm like going, no. I go, I'm not putting up a China. I'm not putting up a double pedal. You get crashes, ride hats, and a cowbell, and a gong and timpanis.
Is that
That's
cuz
all.
Bonham never used him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some of the craziest drummers get up there, and like Virgil Donati, for example, he was my next door neighbor. Oh, and Abe Laboriel Jr. There was and Kenny Arnoff. There was a time when I had a rehearsal studio in North Hollywood on Cleon, up the street from Mates, and I had Abe Jr. across the street. Across the parking lot. I had Virgil Donati next to me. I had Kenny Arnoff in the back, all in the same complex. It was
Wow.
great. I'd go out there and have a cigarette. I'd hang out with Virgil Donati for 20 minutes, and I'd ask him to show me some stuff. And learn from everybody. Learn from everybody. I think I told you the Jamie Oldicker story about telling me to honor your gigs. Somebody asks you to do a gig, you know, and you do the gig, even if it's $100. You do the gig rather than take the $300 gig, because your word is all you have. You
Yeah.
know, and what do you call it? There's a famous story that Sting wanted Vinnie Colaiuta for a tour, and Vinny was on tour with someone else. Sting waited. Again, I
Wow.
don't know if it's true or not, but there's urban legends galore about this stuff. But at the end of the day, wouldn't if Sting really wanted someone who's that successful in business, Sting like Steve Gadd, you want to book Steve Gadd for a tour? Well, he might be on tour already.
Who would you say is your top 3 favorite drummers, your most influential, the 3 you look up to the most?
When I was a kid, it was Alex Van Halen,
Okay.
Neil Peart, John Bonham.
Okay.
Um, and as I get older, I'm turning into a big fan of Danny Carey.
Okay.
Um, Also, I'm turning into the country guy now. Now I'm going to listen to Willie Cantu, who was the drummer for Buck Owens, one of my favorite cover bands. Country bands. If you ever listen to some of the Buck Owens stuff, um, obviously, oh my God, I can't remember his name right now. The drummer for Waylon Jennings. Oh my God, I can see his face. Anyway, and then again, the country stuff is really fascinating because a lot of times when you're a rock guy, you always hit a crash at the top of the song. You always hit a crash going into the verse. You always hit a crash going into the chorus, and you crash ride during the bridge or the solo or whatever. You know, you listen to all the Van Halen stuff. I mean, Alex is back there. Keith Moon, same thing, just
Yeah.
bashing the entire time. And there's country songs that I play where there's no cymbals. I just drop into the hi hat and the side stick right off the bat, and then we stop, and then go back into it. You know,
Huh.
it's really interesting to take things you thought were normal and realize that there's rules. Playing country is different than playing rock,
Hmm.
and there's certain phrases and certain ways of playing through things that rock guys don't do. And then vice versa. I mean, you try to there's a really famous recording of Buck Owens like 1964 in Sydney trying to play Johnny Be Good. They can't, dude. They can't not swing it. They just can't. They're trying to play a rock song with country guys who swing, and Buck Owens is having a hard time keeping up with the phrasing, just because it's not him. It's not him. But if you listen to the Beatles doing Buck Owens, so you know Act Naturally is a Buck Owens song that Ringo sang, and he did a really good job on it. He did a really good job on that song. I've actually covered that song. I've actually sang that song live before, and people get a kick out of it because um, it's a really good song, and a lot of people don't realize that the Beatles went down a country road for a while too. You know, uh,
Wow.
and a lot of bands that have been around a long time will go ahead and go down pathways where they'll discover, oh my God, I discovered Buck Owens, and then like rock guys in the city goes, oh my God, I discovered, I think there was another band recently that I found out did a cover of a country song, and you wouldn't know it at the time until the chorus came in. I can't remember right now, but it was really funny. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing a country song, and a lot of my friends uh, don't like country music. Luckily, my wife wasn't exposed to a lot of it, but when I exposed her to it, I mean, we went to see Blake Shelton several times. She just loved country music. She loved the Waylon Jennings tribute. She goes, "Oh my God, that guy's like my favorite singer in town." And I mean, I don't even listen to rock and roll music in my cars anymore. It's all country music all the time, and it's really great because hearing songs that you don't know, and uh, for the listeners here, there's a station out of Wickenburg, a 96.3, and they have a thing called Dottie's Country Memories at 6 o'clock during the week. So if this comes out on a weekday, switch, and you're in Phoenix and you can get it. You can't get on the east side of town, unfortunately, but if you're on the west side of town, 96.3, um, and the DJ's mom loved old country music. So you'll hear stuff like Dottie West, Loretta Lynn, old Waylon stuff, stuff you've never heard before from people you've never heard of, and luckily my mom in the 70s when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate it at the time because we had one of those houses that had the radio in every room. Remember those? It was a
Hmm.
big thing in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s. So she would put on country music, and I'd have it in my room, and she'd go push the button, go, dinner's ready, but I had the volume down so low you couldn't hear Kenny Rogers. Now, of course, I love Kenny Rogers, Crystal Gale, and I didn't realize this until like maybe a decade and a half ago, but Tom T. Hall is really, really famous, and then we used to watch Hee Haw, and my last girlfriend and I rediscovered it like 2009, and Hee Haw is hysterical, and freaking, my God, Roy Clark is like the Eddie Van Halen of the banjo. And I
Wow.
didn't know that. You don't know that as a kid watching Hee Haw. I was just checking out the half naked girls and listening to Conway Twitty, trying to find out how he gets his hair that way.
Well, real quick, I'll give you my top three. I gotta go. Number one, Bill Ward.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic. I just love his fills. Like it's just like off time. Like it's great.
oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Oh, that
uh,
early Black Sabbath stuff on the Four Piece Kid is amazing.
yeah, Vinnie Paul.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
well.
mean,
I mean that guy was the blueprint for Substance D.
Yeah, he's just I'm so glad I got to meet him a few times.
Yeah, I've been to a strip club in Dallas a few times. Some friends of mine
Yeah,
there know him.
I've been there.
Seen Pantera live?
I did. I saw them at the House of Blues in Las Vegas,
Oh,
and
wow.
I actually here I'll pull it up if I can find it real quick. I have pictures with Dime. In fact, hold on, I just made a little video.
Oh, dude, that was such a tragedy in '05. Ugh.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
I actually played there a couple months afterwards, and everyone in my band poured one out for him.
I mean, he's just such an amazing guy. Well, I don't want to spend time here looking for it, but I made this cool little video with AI that is based on a picture
Uh-huh.
of him and myself and another friend of mine. I saw Iron Maiden in concert with Dime sitting right beside me. The show,
Oh my
uh,
god.
so it was like just one of the most amazing nights ever. You know, him and Rita, and
Yeah.
so that's like one of the highlights of my life. You know, is just being able to hang out with him for a couple hours was
Oh,
just
dude, I'll,
amazing.
I'll bet. I never got a chance to meet him, but Vinny was really nice to us. We brought a stainless steel. It's BYOB. We brought a stainless steel bathtub full of ice and beers into his bar.
There you
Uh,
go.
and we had so much beer, we are handing them out. My guitar player in Substance D and I used to go to strip clubs on days off, and I won a dance contest one time at TD's in Albuquerque. I got a free T-shirt. I jumped on the pole and spun around, and I won the dance contest. But yeah, Pantera changed my world. It's like when I first started. I mean, Jerry Gaskill of King's X
Okay.
was a huge influence on me. I actually stole some of his drum fills and drum beats for another song for another band that almost got signed. Um, and to this day, I mean, King's X is probably my top five bands of all time, still to this day. And I was lucky enough that my guitar player from Substance D, believe it or not, produced their last album.
Oh, wow.
My Yamaha Subkick that I let him borrow is on the new King's X record.
So here, I just found the picture of
Oh, awesome! I
Dime.
want to see it.
Yeah, and
I gotta put on my old man glasses. I can't see shit. Oh, that is killer. Is that one of Vinny's drumsticks?
no, it's I think Nico McBrain from Maiden.
He's got a Black Label Society hat on. That's badass, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I took that photo and made a little AI video out of it. It's really neat.
Nice.
That's what I wanted to show you, but I can't find it right now.
I just
Um,
put the link to it under this video when you
yeah, I will. I will. And then
Nico
so my
Nico actually hosted a couple of our Bonzo bashes,
oh,
believe it or
okay.
not. And he's so funny in person. He was so charming and funny, and I like bend over next to him to like adjust a tom tom or whatever, and he put his hand back and grab my ass on stage in front of everybody. He'd bring beers down from the VIP room. It's like I'd set up somebody on stage and like maybe Glenn Sobel or whatever, and you'd come down from the dressing room and you go, "Here, mate, you're working your ass off. Have a pint." Like really, really nice guy. And he got to see me play once at a place called The Gig on Pico Boulevard, believe it or not. He was in the audience, and I played a show with a band, and I had just done the Bonzo Bash with him, and I played. And afterwards, I came up and says, "Hey, Mr. McBrain," and said, I thought I was at the Bonzo Bash. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Was that you playing?" He goes, and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Solid, mate, solid."
Yeah. Shame he just retired,
I
from
know.
touring.
I don't know what they're going to do now.
Yeah. So my third drummer, I'm gonna go with Ray Luzier.
Oh, again, such a super nice guy, man. He deserves all. I mean, I remember him from David Lee Roth, dude.
Yeah.
He was the original drummer for Metal Shop.
Oh, wow.
When
Which
I was
which which Metal Shop went on to become Steel
the
Panther.
Panther. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to see them in Vegas at a little place called The Drink.
Yep, I remember that place. Yeah, they used to play at the Viper Room,
Uh-huh.
and Stevie Rochelle from Tough and I formed a band called Motley Priest, and
Okay.
we opened up for Metal Shop several times in the early 2000s at the Viper Room, and then they went to the Key Club.
Yep.
And did I tell you the story about my girlfriend at the time? She'd never seen them.
No.
Anyway, so I was dating a girl who's also in the business, and she just had her boobs redone, and they're very swollen. She had to wear a bra for a couple of days. So our buddy of mine has got one of the balconies on either side of the stage at the Key Club, and he's
Hmm.
got like bottle service and all this kind of stuff. So he invited us to come down there. And this is my previous girlfriend, and so my girlfriend wears a white wife beater. I'm like, probably the worst thing you can wear to not draw attention to your big boobs with no bra on.
And you know they're gonna notice it.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. Anyway, so she's never seen them. She has no idea what's going on. So we get in the booth, and our friends go, "Where do you want Red Bull, and Belvedere?" I mean, why would you have top shelf booze only to mix it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Like, give me a Stoli and a Red Bull, I'll be fine. If you want to have freaking Belvedere or whatever. Um, anyway, so got fancy schmancy drinks. We're sitting there. Opening act is on. Not paying any attention to them. But speaking of that, Matt Starr is another one of my favorite
Oh
drummers.
yeah.
Another
Yeah.
super nice guy. Him and his family are wonderful people. They've done the Bonzo Bash several times. I met him when he's a singer of Naugahyde back in the early
Okay.
2000s.
I remember
I
that
didn't even
band.
know he played drums till I saw he was with Ace Frehley. Anyway,
Mhm.
another tragedy. Freaking Ace, man. Another tragedy. But
Yeah.
anyway, so we're on the booth on on stage left, and she has no idea what Steel Panther's about. And like I said, I've seen them several times. I was on a record once with them, and they did Death to All But Metal. I knew their other song, something about. All the songs are about sex, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lights go down, curtain closes, and they open up with "Welcome to the Jungle." And I'm standing on the railing. She's on the railing, leaning forwards. So they start playing "Welcome to the Jungle," and Michael comes out. The singer, Mike Starr, comes out, and he goes, "Welcome to the jungle. She's got great boobies."
Yeah.
And my chick goes freaking red and sits back down. And my buddy, who's seen them before, he goes, "You didn't tell her, did you?" He goes, "No." I mean, if you're going to go see something like that, would you spend 5 minutes on the internet watching drunk Kelly Clarkson?
Right. You know
Or,
what I just found out recently is Ralph, aka Mike Starr.
yeah,
He's got like a PhD or something. He's like what?
yeah. And Duff from Guns N' Roses is a CPA,
Oh wow.
full on licensed CPA, and a major stockholder in Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
That guy,
nice.
that guy makes more money than Guns N' Roses does.
You know what? It's speaking of Starbucks, I learned recently that they make the majority of their money not from coffee but from dairy,
Really?
because half of their drinks is all dairy. They own a bunch of dairy farms, and that's where the majority of their income comes from.
That does not surprise me. Well, the majority of money from McDonald's is not from food,
It's real estate.
real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. You could sit there and have conversations about who won American Idol, or have conversations about who's the lead contestant on whatever reality show, or whatever's going on. But to actually spend, I love documentaries. I
Oh
love
yeah, me too.
documentaries a lot. I like watching things about how things are made. There used to be a show called How It's Made.
Yeah, oh
I don't
yeah.
know if it's on anymore, but it was manufacturing machines,
Hmm.
like just something simple, like making a chain link fence. And this machine does this, and then does that, and then you know what I mean. And at the very end, it rolls it up like that and hands it to a guy who puts it in a box. It's like, and the same thing with the boat anchors. These things are made, stamped out of like freaking steel, and just having the manufacturing process. I mean, I worked. I don't. Unfortunately, they're all the wrong brand. Oh, here we go. Here's a box. I
Remo
worked
drum heads.
I worked for Remo for 5 minutes.
In a
And
row? Or
in yeah, in a row. And then I got fired because he wanted me there at 7 a.m. and I couldn't do it. So I I got a job there for two reasons. Number one is I wanted to learn how something that I used every day was created, and the the hoops, you know the hoops are extruded by machine,
Mhm.
and then this is back in the day. The material of the head is created and it's set into and glued also by a machine and then treated very quickly. And then at the time, they don't do this anymore. At the time, there was a guy actually doing the coating in a room. He'd lay out 50 heads in the machine and he'd go like this. It was Louis Belsa's brother at the time.
Hmm.
And I worked, like I said, I worked there probably about 3 or 4 months. I was there for the '87 earthquake. And I learned a whole bunch of stuff about how things were made. Overseas manufacturing, certain parts are made overseas. Same thing with any manufacturer. DW Drums, Premier Drums, they make a lot of stuff overseas in China and Vietnam and uh, 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 you know what? It's not here. It's at my studio. But one of my favorite Yamaha snare drums is actually made in Taiwan, believe it or not. And I spoke to my friends at Yamaha, and again, working for Yamaha, I got to tour the factory in Osaka. That was a treat.
Wow.
I actually have. It's not here either. I actually got to make my own snare drum. Part of the Yamaha factory tour was you get to make your own snare drum. So I have a snare drum at my studio with my name on the badge.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
That's really cool. Um, uh, 13 by 7 with die-cast hoops and silver sparkle lacquer. Badass snare drum. As a matter of fact, I want to play it again. But anyway, you learn the manufacturing process, about how stuff is made, and it really helped me. I was also a trainer merchandiser. At the same time I was the drum department manager at SIR Hollywood, I also was a drum trainer merchandiser for Yamaha. I drive around to guitar centers, the Sam Ashes, and do inventories and do quick clinics about stuff and show them stuff that they don't have in stock. Like I brought them, signature snare drums that they don't stock. And a lot of the people there are still friends of mine to this day. It was a wonderful job and it was great to be out there. I helped the guys sell drums, because I know what they're made of, how they're made. And I'm a terrible salesman, but if you want to ask me a question about a product, I'll tell you about it, how it's made, blah blah blah. But I'm not going to sit there and argue with you about the price and negotiate. I don't like to do that. Like I'm terrible when I went to Tijuana. My buddy, we took us to Tijuana, and he goes $5 for a shot of tequila? Yes, please. No, haggle with them. I go, what? Offer them 2. And I go, why? He goes, they love it. And I'm like, okay, $2. He goes, no, $4. And he goes, $2.50. No, $3.50. And I'm like, these guys are having a great old time negotiating. I don't know if it's Tijuana thing, but anyway, I don't really.
Bartering for
I worked
tequila.
I worked at Guitar Center probably about 6 or 8 months as well. I worked on the sales floor one day. I hated it. I sold a guy a Zildjian crash cymbal for full pop, and the sales manager goes, good job. And I'm like, no. Because he didn't argue. I didn't argue. He just come up and, $387.50 for the cymbal. He goes, I'll take this. And the same thing at Guitar Center, you got to go ahead and argue with them a little bit. And sometimes, you go over to Sam Ash and you have the manager come over, especially when I have the receipt from the last time I bought something at Guitar Center, or Sam Ash. Hey, can I have this at the same price I had last time? Oh, I need to have the manager come over. Yeah, because you've been here 3 days. You don't know what you're doing. I also worked at West LA Music for a minute as a salesman. I was terrible at it, but I tell you what, I learned a lot about, retail. I learned quite a bit about, how to deal with customers and treat them with respect and honor their wishes and their demands. I actually had my manager call me out one time. He goes, you spent 40 minutes putting a drum head on that guy's snare? I said, well, yeah, because the throw-off was all messed up, and I talked him into a bottom head too. I tuned it all up, and he was very happy. He goes, but you could have been on the phone doing other stuff. I go, dude, I could have a customer for life. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If this
Yeah.
guy wants to turn around and buy a snare drum 3 weeks from now or a month or two from now and he gets his income tax check back, why wouldn't he come to see me? I hooked him up.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's kind of, not so prevalent these days. Companies are only care about the almighty dollar, and the customer service has gone to complete shit.
In
You know?
everything.
Yeah.
In absolute everything. You can't get anyone on the phone. You can't.
Oh
I
my God, dude, I'm dealing with X right now. So people subscribe to me on X,
Right.
for $1 a month.
Nice.
And you accumulate, over the months, it adds up, and you have to hit a certain amount before you can cash it out.
Yep.
So I kind of, you kind of have to monitor and see where you're at. And I picked up another sub about 2 weeks ago. And so I looked at it when he subscribed, and I saw what I had in there. And then a week later I checked it, and 2/3 of it is gone. So they took 2/3 of the money that I've accumulated from people subscribing to me. And so now trying to get it back from them is a nightmare. It's just like, you first, you message support,
Yeah.
and they, it's basically Grok, it's a AI.
Yep.
And then so getting the computer to understand the problem, first of all, in itself is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
And then you finally get it where it somewhat understands, and then they escalate it to a person or a supposed person, but then you start getting the same kind of automated replies, and they're still not understanding or comprehending the problem. Like, they're not listening. They start telling you, oh well, you have to, it's based on ad revenue, and then they start giving you all the metrics of how they base it on impressions and views and this that. I'm like, that's not the problem here. You stole my subscription money. That's the problem. But listen, Todd, we got to wrap it up. I have another podcast I'm supposed to record here shortly. But I want to get any kind of final thoughts you got on, well, first, anything you want to promote, anything you got coming up, anything that we forgot to promote in the last episode. What do you got going on? You got some shows you want to plug?
I got things. Things are always happening. Things are changing. I got last minute stuff. I might be doing a Arizona Highwayman show on Monday. I don't have the details yet. I might be doing the Wayland Wednesdays at Handlebar J. I slowed down a lot since my wife passed away, and I'm trying to get it all back. And I had they say it takes 5 years to build up a career in a new town, and I did it. And my phone rang off the hook. I was doing a lot of work, and I slowed down a little bit. I kind of lost a little bit of my fire, but I'm slowly getting it back. And if anyone needs a drummer, TM Burr, tmburr.com. I'm on TM Burr Facebook page. The Phoenix area drummer page is a great way to reach out to all of us. I've got a couple of friends of mine. One of them I've literally known for 35 years. I mean, and I'm sorry, two of them I've known for 35 years, who both were playing in the 80s here in Phoenix.
Wow.
And what's really crazy was one of them designed the monoshock for Harley Davidson, sold the patent, and put a photo studio in his backyard.
Wow. Huh.
And ready for this? He's also the lead photographer for Easy Riders magazine. So you ever see the hot chicks, the naked hot chicks on motorcycles? The $100,000, copper Harley Davidson hardtail. He's the one taking pictures in his studio.
Okay. Wow.
My wife was the makeup artist in
Nice.
those sessions, and they didn't know. I mean, I didn't know they knew each other. How crazy is that?
Huh.
He actually tried to talk her out of dating me. Because he goes, he's a traveler, he's a musician, he's going to be gone a lot. This is what he does, and this is what I still do. I've got, I do shows all around the world. I'm on my third passport. I got, a couple of great cars, and reliable transportation, some killer drum sets, and I look good in a cowboy hat. If you want to go ahead and go down that road, I've got some. My wife also is a great shopper, She bought me some amazing country outfits, some country shirts. Oh, it's up. No, okay, real quick. She went to Goodwill. She used to love to go to Goodwill, and she went and found a pair of high top sneakers. And she goes, "Are you home?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Don't go anywhere. I'll be home in 10 minutes." I'm like, "Okay." She walks in the door with a pair of Vans, Kiss Rock and Roll Over Vans.
Nice.
In my
I
in
think I've
my
seen them.
in my size. What are the odds in Phoenix, Arizona, somebody with the same size foot as I bought a brand new pair of Vans Rock and Roll Over shoes and then got rid of them at donated them to Goodwill, and my wife bought them for $10.
Wow.
And I wore them. We toured. Tough toured the UK. I mean Australia with Faster Pussycat. I wore them every day, and people just go, "Holy crap! Where'd you get those from?" You know, they're the
Yeah.
coolest shoes ever. I'm like, I'm trying not to wear them all the time, but they're really my favorite shoes now.
I know. I got a pair of favorite shoes too that I couldn't believe I scored. It was the only pair they had. You know, you've heard of John Varvatos?
I've heard the name. I'm not familiar with the brand.
He's a like a high-end designer. He does a lot of, like rock and roll type clothes and stuff. I scored a pair of John Varvatos snakeskin Chuck Taylors,
Oh,
Converse All-Stars. They're so amazing. Like
what color are those?
well, they're like a gray snake skin, like a grayish
Are
snake skin.
the grommets black or white?
They are white. Or
Oh,
they're not really white though. They're almost like an aged. They look kind of faded and they look old, but they're practically brand new still.
they've been antiqued.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
But I'll tell you something, Todd. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed with your knowledge of drums. I had no idea your resume was as amazing as it was.
Aw.
I'm really happy that I've got to talk to you yet again. And I want to let you know that you have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on, let me know. Because I want to do another episode. Maybe we'll do another bonus content down the road or something where we just talk politics, because I felt like we could talk about that for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's when it's funny is it's effortless and easy to have a conversation with someone who kind of has similar likes. I always sit there and go, you know, drums, motorcycles, muscle cars, women, politics, and beer. I mean,
Boom.
what
What
else?
else is there?
What else is there really?
Yeah,
What else
exactly.
is there? I mean,
Exactly.
music is in my soul, and I love what I do, and I'm blessed to do what I do. And it's funny. Every time I've got a couple friends of mine I went to high school with that are friends, and the thing about social media is it's really wonderful that you get to keep in touch with family and friends and show your shows. Like I just posted a show I did on Saturday, and one of my buddies, I was in marching band, goes, he sends me a PM. He goes, "Dude," he goes, "I can't believe you're still doing this." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Dude, you're still playing like crazy." He goes, "You've been doing this for 30 plus years." I says, "Yeah." And he goes, "I can't believe it." He goes, "I'm so proud of you." Where a lot of people, look at the dream of whatever you had a dream when you're a kid or a teenager. I never in a million years thought I would be able to go ahead and make it this long and do what I've done, which is, I think I mentioned it before. I'm actually writing a book. I had an interview with my ghostwriter yesterday. He just got done writing Carlos Santana's biography,
Oh, wow.
and now he's doing mine. And some of the same stories I told you are going to be in the book, with chapters about, animals. Obviously, I'm an animal lover. In this house we got 3 cats and 4 dogs.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That's a handful.
as a handful. Yeah, but then the muscle cars. You saw on my Facebook page, I just bought a Corvette, and I wanted one my entire life, and finally able to buy one. It's this
There you
color.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but after 16 years of driving foreign cars, I now have a Dodge pickup truck and a Chevy Corvette because I'm also a patriot who loves his country and I want to support American businesses. You know,
There
and
you go.
at the end of the day, I'm drinking Miller Lite.
There you go. That's probably my favorite domestic.
No Bud Light for me.
Oh God, no. But thanks again, Todd. And like I said, man, you got an open invitation anytime you want to come on.
Dude, thank you for taking time out of your day to chat. I really enjoyed it as well, and I'd love to come back and maybe give me like a month or two,
Yeah.
get a couple more experiences and stuff like that. I could talk about the rock and roll cruises. I've done like 9 of them.
Are you coming up on this one? That's what, about 3 weeks away. There's a cruise.
Dude, no.
No. All
And
right.
that is a 15-20 minute conversation about why I'm not.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
really,
My buddy Izzy Presley. I don't know if you know who Izzy is, but he's getting ready to go.
dude,
So,
Izzy announced us on the last one.
okay. There you
Yes.
go.
I've known Izzy for a decade. As a matter of fact, I played with his act,
Oh,
Ace
okay. Yeah.
Frehley tribute.
Yeah.
His normal drummer got seasick.
Chad Stewart.
Chad Stewart got seriously sick, and
I'm,
Stevie.
try- I'm I'm trying to get Chad on the
Oh,
podcast.
dude, he's great. I hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. Hold on, hold on. Do you have his contact information?
Yeah, I got his number.
Okay,
Yeah,
'cause
I
I
got his
think I
number.
have his cell number in my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Great guy, dude. He's a lot of fun. Oh, we did a one of the things you do on the cruises is the bands do stuff like judging wet t-shirt contests.
Uh-huh.
I got to judge one of his drink contests where he had people come up and made their favorite new drinks, and we
Okay.
had to taste them and judge them,
Wow.
and it was great.
Did you see when he wore the mankini? Did you see him wear this thing on the boat?
I was Luckily I was in a different part of the ship when he did that.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, I made an AI video for him of that, and
Oh no.
it's haunting.
And it couldn't be a worse color.
Oh
It
God.
couldn't be a worse color.
But
That's the reason I can't be gay is because man butt is just ugh.
I can't be gay because there's poop involved. But anyways, thanks again, Todd, and we'll talk again soon. Maybe in a month or so, you can come back on.
Yeah, let me start getting my my mojo back. This is probably very helpful for me to start returning back to the Todd I was before. I mean, last year was so freaking horrible, man.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
so freaking horrible. And I'm in the process of moving to my own place, and it's I mean, I don't know if you could see this. My room here is a mess. The drums are almost all over there. Now I got boxes of stuff. And when you do this for so long, I mean, I could just show you real quick. This is just like half of my drum hardware.
Yeah.
Half of my drum hardware, and there's another pile behind me here too as well. Um, and then I'm going through. They say if you don't play it for 5 years, you should sell it. Well, I've got a 1955 Slingerland snare drum I don't want to sell. I've got a serial number 2 Jimmy Chamberlain snare drum that I haven't played in 5 years. Jimmy gave it to me. I've got a Jimmy Chamberlain snare drum given to me by Jimmy Chamberlain. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
It's
That's
like
awesome.
it's like uh, no, it's not here either. I've
Well,
got three. I got 3 snares over here too, but
well,
none of that. But anyway,
you can find it and bring it up on the next one.
well, that's hey. Wait, when we could do 50% like drum show and tell, and then 50% politics.
There you go.
How's that?
Sounds good. All right, Todd. Thank you so much, man.
No, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate
All
it
right,
so much, Snoop, and hopefully I'll see you sooner than later. And again, reach out to me, IRL,
for
and
sure.
maybe we'll go grab a beer somewhere.
Definitely, definitely. Don't hang up. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.